Welcome, everyone, to another weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about this crazy hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And we had some fun reactions to last week's episode about Gemini. Lots of our users on the Facebook group, Marked Out Autograph Collecting Community, decided to test out Gemini for themselves. What was the general consensus?
People seem to be having fun with it. We saw Big Chad kind of salvaged a very, very ruined photo op. And the one where she's like kneeling on the table, Terry, is, to me, perfect. Like
I don't know. You don't think there's something about Chad's face that in the touched up photo that just it's not real. You don't see it?
I'm gonna look again. I mean, I'm not. No offense to Chad, but I'm not an expert on his face. Let me look a little closer at it. I compared it to the original that I saw, and it looked close enough. Let's see.
I mean, first of all, the original was so blurry you can't see the details of his face. I mean, I just, knowing what Chad looks like and kind of recalling what he looked like back then, it's just a little bit uncanny valley for me. It just, there's something about it that doesn't look right.
I don't know.
And like that goes with all of the photos with me in them as well. There's something wrong with my face in all of them,
I don't know. I don't really, again, Chad, if you're listening, comment on the show notes when we post this. If you see anything wrong with your face's resemblance to your actual face. To me, to my recollection of Chad's face from like 2009, it looks pretty damn spot on to me. I think Terry's face, granted, it always does better with the celebrity because it's able to it's not doing guesswork on that. It knows who it is. Although I don't actually know if it would know who it was because it's so blurry, the original. Would it really know that's Terry Runnels without being told? Maybe Chad told them in the prompt. I don't know. I think it looks great.
It's just that slightly uncanny valley thing. I noticed that too. Like Martine posted a photo op with us. Did you see that?
I didn't. Hold on. Was that on the show notes?
There was a Gemini post and then there was a show notes post. I don't remember which one it was on. There were two posts with it with pictures.
I saw Simon with Andre the Giant. There we are with Martine.
So I look horrible. That's not me. You look like you. I do not.
AI handles me pretty well. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult that it's able to replicate me so well. Probably more of an insult, but it looks like Martine. Considering I've never seen Martine in person, but
it ages me 20 years. This thing, it's very strange.
Are you sure you're just not seeing yourself accurately in real life? No,
I see pictures all the time. I don't look like that.
All right, Martine, please have Gemini make Sean 20 years younger. And then,
there's something about the face that it makes me.
I understand. For some reason, you are not well translated in AI, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if I've put so much of myself into this Gemini that they actually have like a database of me in the cloud, and I don't know I really don't know how it works. How the consciousness works, how it creates and replicates and what it does. But I see what you're saying. You don't look exactly right. I look spot on. That's like the best completely created photo of me I've ever seen. I think some of the ones from scratch I look a little weird. The fixes I feel like I look fine. I like the Martine shot. Very good.
So we would love to see, as people take horrible photo ops, or maybe you can look through your collection of photo ops that just, went sideways, or maybe we can go back to those like worst photo op winners from years past on Marked Out, and you can kind of maybe retouch them into something nice. I should actually try those Howard Stern show photo ops that I got, with Dick Benji and Sal and everything that were like taken at 4:00 in the morning outside, so they're all dark and weird and blurry.
I know Ira salvaged one of his, I think, past worst photo op winners he was sending me. So
yeah, post them. It'll be interesting how the algorithm improves, because that's the thing with these algorithms, is that they continue to change and evolve, and anyway. So that was that. There weren't too many reports this week. Ari got a couple of New York Rangers, Dan Girardi and Ryan Callahan. I'm not really a hockey person, so I'm not. Are they like big stars, or do you know?
I don't know either. I'm not a hockey guy in the slightest. Yeah, I don't know, but everything looked cool as always.
They seemed to be well run. Seth met NFL legend Derek Brooks from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There was, I guess, a grand opening at a Walmart somewhere, and I remember, man, when stores would open and stores would have like free signings, that was a pretty common thing years ago, and it just doesn't really happen too much anymore. So it's awesome when you see something like that.
No, it's definitely not super common. I kind of questioned a Walmart needing anything. Like, Walmart is such a machine at this point. I mean, people need toilet paper, people need chips, people need all the crap they need. Ultimately, if this is their local Walmart, they're going to go. Whether you have Derek Brooks there.
I think you're thinking of, like, I think this is in a place that's probably considerably less commercially populated than where we live. So I'm not sure. It's a lot of it.
What's the appeal? It brings the people that are like, what, an hour away that would that.
Well,
that
no, it's like, maybe they, okay. So like, I don't shop at Walmart because I live like 25 minutes away. But if there were perhaps like a grand opening of one 10 minutes away, now I guess, I can maybe shop there now. You know what I mean?
But wouldn't you know that without Derek Brooks? You would need Derek Brooks. How would you see that and not the news that opened?
Where do you get the news when stores open?
Facebook community groups. I get news.
You have to be a 78-year-old woman who browses Facebook community groups. To even know that. I don't know when Walmart opens. Get out of here.
You don't want to know if there's gunshots in your area. You need to be dialed in.
Oh, first of all, there's gunshots in my area every day. It is what it is. As long as it's not directly in my line of fire, line of vision, whatever, then I'm okay. Please. Oh, I don't need all that. Nextdoor and Patch and all that. Get out of here.
Listen, one day one of those 70 or 8-year-old women is going to post a great signing in one of those community groups, and you're going to be pissed that you aren't in it.
Well, I actually sent you a signing for one of the community groups.
You did. The Nate Robinson one.
Yeah. So anyway, then the little rat posted his attempt at getting Jerry Seinfeld. Do you want to tell the story?
I do. Well, first of all, he got to the rail, and he apparently argued with a street grapher for littering, which is honestly the most Zach thing you could think of. It's amazing, because ethically he's right, but it's just hilariously absurd. Like, the twists and turns that the story seems to take, which is sort of Zach in his essence, which is what makes him amazing. Apparently, he got the grapher to throw the garbage in the trash and not leave it on the sidewalk. So that's a good thing. And then Jerry came out, and I mean, Jerry being Jerry, and basically any celebrity who has that kind of autonomy, which they all do, whether they choose to use it or not, Jerry was like, which is apparently what he does, he sort of picks and chooses. And it's not like, oh, I'm not going to sign that photo of my, penis. He will decide not to sign something completely innocent and like on brand simply because I've seen a lot of it, I'm bored of it, whatever. And I mean, if you're in his presence for him to give free autographs away, I mean, he doesn't owe you any more than that. He doesn't even owe you that.
I like how you went right to the penis. Like nothing, there was no intermediary step there. It was right.
I mean, it could have been like a scan of his passport, but I mean, I think a nice 11x14 glossy of the hog would be a little more salacious.
How do you think you would respond to a metallic photo of Maria's vagina?
I mean, probably about as well as the buying customers responded to it prior to us mentioning it on every episode of the podcast that got it to sell. So,
oh my God,
probably not well. But anyways, so Jerry came out. The little rat had a bobblehead, a Mets bobblehead from when I'm not sure if he threw out the first pitch. He did something at the Met game.
To me, that seems like a good item, like an item he might sign.
The problem is Jerry, much like a lot of the Pete Alonso crybabies out there, he's upset. They let Pete go, and I get the upsetment. I understand it somewhat, but it's a long off season. Let's see what they do next. Jerry is not a patient man, I guess, when it comes to what the off season is going to bring, and he's already sick of the Mets. He's pissed at the Mets. He didn't want to sign the bobblehead. Little Rat then lied to him, which I respected the effort, and told Jerry that the Mets were going to sign Kyle Tucker and Cody Bellinger. And to be perfectly honest, they may sign none. Hopefully Tucker. And Jerry didn't seem super impressed with that. I don't think he was sold. And then Little Rat complimented his daughter, who's writing for some sort of a paper or a website, probably a website since it's not 1981. And he appreciated the compliment, but not enough to sign the Mets bobblehead. So Little Rat was blanked. Jerry pitched a perfect game in regards to the Little Rat, not any contact. But he did get some cool banter with Jerry, which is and it's on tape, so that's kind of cool.
I have to ask, because this has become sort of a running, I don't know if you call it gimmick or whatever of mine, but it doesn't strike you as odd at all for an adult man to have a genuine emotional reaction when a person is not signed to a contract by a sports team?
No, if anything, I think there's less confusion with that than your questions about being a fan of like an entity that changes and doesn't have any real consistency. Why do you like this organization? But I mean, if you watched Pete come up through the system and you've been a fan of him since he started in the big leagues, it's the same as an actor. You have a favorite actor, you have a favorite singer, whatever.
To get actually mad about it is bizarre, no?
I don't know. I mean, that's emotion. You watch wrestling. People get pissed if their favorite loses to some degree. When their favorite character on a TV show dies, you in that moment, you're not happy.
That's demented. To have actual, like, a change in your mood based on something that has nothing to do with you is bizarre. I stand by it.
I don't think Jerry's mood was changed. I mean, ultimately, he probably grasps at straws to be able to sign less or to make it more difficult or whatever. I'm sure
I think, if I'm being honest, I think Jerry, because I've listened to Jerry do interviews on Howard Stern. He's been on Howard Stern a million times. Jerry has talked openly with Howard about the idea that he's basically always on comedically. In his mind, he's always trying to do some kind of comedy. Either he's thinking about comedy or he's like working through, bits in his head. It would not surprise me if in his head, this is kind of a bit in a way.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's a pretty funny bit. I think it's a funny bit, but I think it's a funny bit to like not sign someone's bobblehead because the Mets didn't sign some guy to a contract. That's a funny bit in a way because it's like frankly, because it's an absolutely asinine thing to care about. It's just to me, it's funny, but it's also kind of funny that people. I can't get over that people care about that stuff. But I guess that's my gimmick at this point.
Yeah, the angry sports hater guy. I guess that's you.
I'm not angry about it. I just find it's sign. It just shows a level of like emotional immaturity or limitation or something like that to get angry about things that don't matter. I don't know. Like I would get angry, like, if my car gets plowed in by a truck or something, that would make me angry. But this, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you got angry at horses in Philadelphia once. I mean,
because I was literally stuck in traffic. That's a reason to be angry. I had to pee.
Stuck in traffic for how long? 15 minutes or something? I mean, if you've been watching this
stuff in traffic for 30 seconds makes me mad.
But if you've been watching a player for 7-8 years and all of a sudden they're gone because of a decision a team makes that you feel is taking your fandom and your dollar for granted, which, I mean, I don't always agree with that narrative, but that's what people are feeling like. We have the billionaire owner. Why are we going to buy tickets next year when you can't even give us our homegrown star? Like the Yankees kept Jeter around. You can't keep our guy around. I get the understanding why you'd feel a little upset about it. I just try to be optimistic because if every bad decision the Mets made got me all riled up, I probably would be dead by now.
Well, I mean, you see these people who they're screaming at the TV over this stuff, or they get angry.
I don't do that.
To me, you should be euthanized for that kind of behavior. You should not be allowed to. People should be allowed to reproduce who behave that way. Psychotic. It's psychotic. Getting overly. Maybe deep down, I'm a monk. because getting overly emotional like that over just about anything, I think, is demented. Like people going crazy with road rage and so just like and you definitely. I mean, I know it's part of the the gimmick, obviously, but you definitely overblow my reaction to the horse. I was like, I just yelled and I swore at the horse, but I didn't get I was over it in 15 seconds. It was a quick little burst of frustration at the traffic. But there are these people who it becomes a key part of their identity that they like a certain team. It's like that's like, to me, it's sick. I don't know. I've spoken about this with some people. There are some people who are. It's one of those things. You're either very with me or you're against me.
I would argue that your fandom of Hulkamania was a team, but that also started when you were a child, so it's a little.
But what does that mean by fandom of Hulkamania? Like, by the time I'm going to be honest, I abandoned serious fandom by the time I was 11. I mean, I was somewhat nostalgic for the old stuff. I actually sort of popped for Mania 18. Autograph wise, I collected some stuff, but I stopped following his life, his career. I don't give a shit what was going on, really.
But I mean, Kids in the Hall. You're chewing on your second flight to San Francisco potentially
to watch a show.
But I mean, you have emotional reaction to it. Maybe it's not anger, but I mean, it's enjoyment. It brings you an emotion. What's the difference?
No, enjoyment is not an emotion. No, that's a fundamental misunderstanding about how people work. Okay, there are forms of entertainment that stimulate you in some ways, but that's not the same as having like an emotional reaction that makes you sort of lose control of your inhibitions. Like I don't like watch a Kids in the Hall show and then like start screaming and throwing garbage at strangers in the street, right? Like hockey players do, for example, after their team loses or whatever. Like, or I don't watch a Kids in the Hall show and get so excited that I flip cars over in the like what I'm saying is sports fans are uniquely mentally disabled, is what I'm saying, in that they have no regulation of their emotions. Well, the difference between like enjoyment of something and losing control of oneself. I don't think that's a hard boundary to like clearly establish.
No, but you're pointing out the most extreme and deranged of sports fans. I think out of 30,000 sports fans in a stadium, I would say maybe 200 have gone to those levels of flipping cars and throwing stuff. The average sports fan is not doing that. You disparage all sports fans.
There are people who I know, who I consider myself relatively close to, who again say things like, "Oh, we lost yesterday, damn it," or "Oh, whatever, Alonzo, I'm so mad." And that in and of itself is like, okay, it's kind of like the people who, they're like Game of Thrones, right? So the last season sucked. And so there are people who go, like me, when I go, yeah, the last season sucked. And then there are people who go, God, the last season sucked so bad, I hate it, I'll never watch the show again. There's like a difference in emotional regulation there, And like I find people who are unable to regulate, I strange. And being actually impacted by something that doesn't matter, I just find strange. So that's a very different from like being a fan of a certain entertainment thing. If you're gonna like consume the entertainment for enjoyment, it's like reading the same book 10 times. There are certain books I've read 15 times. You wouldn't know it because it's not like you would see me do it, or it's not like I would get into a fight with somebody about the book. Like there's no I don't know.
Well, my last counterpoint, and then we can move on, is that not liking the Game of Thrones season and getting like passionately angry about it, that is art. That is not any sort of competitive activity. So that's like walking into a museum and just getting pissed off because you don't like a painting. I see your point with that. But I mean, if you're watching a sport and you're invested, whether you're on the team or not, whether you use we or not, you're gonna have some emotion. I mean, how would anyone watch sports?
You're sitting on your ass eating cheese doodles. You're not competing.
Yeah, but you're still rooting. You're still rooting. That's like saying when you're watching your kid's game, you don't really care what happens because you're not on the team.
No, there is a huge difference. Your kids versus strangers who don't know you exist. Those are enormous differences. It's kind of like, okay, the Olympics, right? On one level, I can make the argument that somebody might cheer for a particular team out of nationalistic pride. I at least, even though I do not feel such feelings, I at least can wrap my head around why someone might feel that, right? Like, okay, the one time I actually watched the Olympics was because one of my friends in college managed to scam his way into the Olympics. It's actually a really funny story, which is probably too long to be told at this moment. But so, like, I remember with friends from college, I sat down and watched, the opening ceremony and this one event from the Olympics. And so we were laughing, and he came in last place because he was not good, but that it was just this weird kind of quirk of the system. But so we were laughing about that, and I guess cheering him, I guess you could say, but none of us had any actual feelings about it. That's like the only time I can remember, watching the Olympics. But like, I can understand the Olympics, but like having this personal investment for people who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire is like,
you don't know that.
Crazy.
Sometimes there's two people that'll spit on you from a sports team.
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, but I don't know. It's I this kind of thing makes me rant because I see it every day in public, and I wonder, am I the weird one, or am I just surrounded by these? But no one has been able to justify these feelings. No one. I've never been satisfied with like, how does one become a fan of a particular team? How does one decide? Can you decide to switch? What does that look like? Do you suddenly switch and start feeling emotions for another? It's incomprehensible to me. So I don't know. Anyway, I do think Jerry was doing a bit, and I do think that Zach kind of in a way appreciated the bit, if that makes sense.
I mean, listen, Zach was a part of a Seinfeld bit potentially. That's pretty cool.
That's the way it seems to me. And I recommend, if you're interested in like Jerry talking about that stuff, he definitely got into this in detail on some Howard Stern episodes where he was being interviewed. I can't tell you which ones because it was over the years, but this is something that Jerry does. Like, the Howard was asking him, like, when you're alone with your wife and kid, are you still like doing bits and thinking about comedy? And he's like, every single second of every day. So it's kind of, in a way, he was talking about how he's almost tortured by it. How he's like, he can never turn it off, which is kind of interesting. So, and in a way, the little rat is kind of the same way, right? He's out when he's doing the graphing, the personality is always there, 100%. Do you want to tell the fascinating Zayda Steel story that came up on the marked out autograph collecting community and other communities out there?
I do.
So I guess go for it, and then I'll fill in the pieces where I think needs to be filled in. So, I'm going to hear your version.
There is an illiterate man named Joshua Baker who I think lives down in Maryland. He's somewhere down in the D.C. Region. And he's done a lot of weird, sort of just ridiculous things in this business. Do you have any
examples? I don't really know. I don't know who this person is, so.
Like I said, there was at one time he was like, he harassed one of our customers on a Billy Starks private because they knew he was bringing Billy Starks to some stupid show somewhere down there. And he was like actually upset that how dare you send it to them and not give the business to me. And he was like actually upset about it. I'm not going to name any names because it's not my story to tell. But I remember that being kind of public, or maybe not public. The person may have just reached out to me and sent me screenshots. But he's one of those vendors where he's not quite a limited adult from Staten Island, where I don't think he's really committing any sort of crimes, or he's not really adjacent to any criminal activity. He's just a moron that kind of functions at the best of his abilities, which isn't really all that grand. But in any case, he apparently was a middleman on some sort of a deal. Zayda Steel, woman that we have mentioned on here at length, not maybe quite the length of the gentleman from the Vanity Project, but enough. WWE ID turned AEW star. Zayda Steel was selling some of her gear. I believe her asking price was $300.
No, her asking price was $500.
Her asking price was $500. He sold it for $700.
Yeah, he middlemanned it. So he collected $700 from which is, by the way, a batshit number. That's a batshit crazy number, $700 for his Zayda Steel piece. But I digress. He collected $700 from some schmuck. Basically, he was gonna make an easy $200 as a middleman.
Yeah. And as you kind of like to see when morons try to make easy money, and it's just funny to watch. Something went wrong. Zayda took her sweet time shipping the gear. She wasn't responsive, which, I mean, that's kind of that's that's not super surprising. This guy had no real connection to the talent at all. He was just a guy in the DMs that sent her money through Cash App, and as middleman, the person that paid him $700 expected product. He didn't have product to give. I think he ended up giving the $700 back to the customer, allegedly. I haven't heard anyone complain about being ripped off. So, again, he's better than a lot of the morons out there because he didn't rip the person off. So,
I think he gave money back. The way I believe he gave it back.
Yeah, so that's a good thing to Josh Baker. And then he was trying to get his money back from Zayda. And he wasn't getting much response. I believe him going public with it on our group and many others is what got her to respond, which is a typical thing you have to do when people are just not the greatest at business or the most honest or whatever. And she gave a sort of a runaround of excuses that she shipped it and she was waiting for it and she was going to try to get it back, or she couldn't get it back, and she wasn't going to give him the money until she received the item back in her possession. Then in the next breath, she's like, I will give you the money. I lost everything, but I hope you're happy, basically. It was a very weird energy. My hunch is she absolutely never shipped the gear to begin with, had it in her possession, and realized that the spotlight was on her. And while it is Wrestler 101 to sort of squeeze dollars out of brain-dead marks, in the Facebook world, when that brain-dead mark posts screenshots, it makes you look bad. So I think she kind of just abandoned the con, gave the money back, and I imagine if you're dialed in on the gear game, you'll see this gear up for sale somewhere else.
So you do realize that the last he posted, she hadn't given him the money back yet.
Then why did he? I thought he deleted the post. And he
deleted the post to keep the peace because she promised to give because she said she wasn't home. She was traveling for AEW, so she hadn't been home to check. The package might have been returned to her, but she wasn't home to check. It was some completely asinine thing. So, okay, question to you. Now, look, I do not advocate. Do I think she stole from him? Probably, I do. I'm going to be honest. I do. I don't give a shit. I think she probably stole from him. Under what circumstances would you send a wrestler money on Cash App?
I don't think under any circumstances, period.
Right. Because that is a very, very profoundly stupid thing to do. Like, and to be fair, if you read his posts, he is profoundly stupid. So it tracks, but, it's one of those things where that's the problem. It's actually, this is very, very illustrative of of some of the problems one runs into when trying to do business in this space. Is that the people who are your compatriots of sorts, your colleagues, if you want to say, or your competitors, a lot of them are very, very, very dumb. And, so a lot of times wrestlers or other vendors or whatever will try shenanigans, assuming that you are also very dumb. And, I can be accused of a lot of things. Maybe I'm mean. Maybe I'm unfriendly. I've heard that from people, but I don't lie and I don't steal. That's not true. I lie if it's like funny, but not to steal. Sometimes I tell fibs if it's a funny story, but anyway, but I will not lie and I will not steal. And like, when I see people whose entire operation is sort of founded on stealing, then, it's hard. It's hard. But some of these guys, their operation is founded on more or less just losing money because they're dumb. And like it's enormously. We haven't talked about this in a few months actually, but it's enormously frustrating sometimes to have your main competitors be people who are willing to lose money hand over fist.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, not that I'm in the gear game, but I'm in the making money game, and it kind of pisses me off that there's a world where Zayda's getting $500 for her gear. And I mean, at the end of the day, good for her and good for anyone else in her level of stardom that can make that kind of money. But someone gave Josh $700. I mean, come on. Like, this deal was made before she even touched an AEW ring. Like, working Evolve is $700 gear terrain. Like, when you hear the stories of what the old school, like the people as gimmicked and kayfabe as that show is, the WWE Hidden Treasures or whatever on that whatever network that is, I'm blanking. AMC, A&E. That's what it is. Yeah. When you hear the stories, and I've read Facebook posts about that, like the price people would pay on like Ric Flair boots and all this stuff, it's like, holy crap! Like, all you have to be is a young woman, or maybe any woman, and if you can sell something that you had your sweaty genitals pressed against, you can make bank, and that's crazy. And like, I don't know, like, at what stage of the game would you have to start buying gear from any of these talents as like a money-making investment? Like, I feel like these women could walk out of their first training session and get some creep buying their gear for hundreds of dollars. It's wild that people are doing that. But I mean, here I am buying Big Rubber Guys and Hasbros on eBay, spending my money. So I mean, my crap doesn't smell like sweaty genitals. So I don't know if that's better or worse.
I mean, I do find the whole gear thing to be very strange. And we talked about this a little bit. I don't think I would want any. The only gear I do have is the Hulk Hogan ring worn wristband. But like, a wristband is probably like to me anyway, maybe I'm rationalizing in my head, sort of the least offensive type of gear, and that it like wasn't cupping his ball sack. Or ass crack or anything, you know.
You don't know that.
I'm pretty. You're right. I don't know it, but I can be reasonably confident. And so, it's a suspension of disbelief. Ultimately, everything is. But that's what I have, and I don't really know what to do with it. So it's kind of just sitting somewhere. And I think that's sort of this gear. I mean, there's two types of people. I think there's the people who buy it and they put it in a crate somewhere. It disappears into the ether of their nonsense. And then there are the people who, buy mannequins and put it up in their house. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure which is more antisocial. I think having that stuff to me would just weird me out. So I am not interested in it.
Well, let me be clear.
I also have boxes of lucha masks, which, I mean, people would think that's weird too. And maybe, honestly, when I look at them, sometimes I do also think that that's weird. But I am casting stones, perhaps, while residing in a glass house. But Zayda Steel, who is more or less, I mean, now, obviously she's not a nobody now, but she was more or less a nobody up until very recently. Getting $700 for a pair of underwear is hog wild, honestly.
Let me be clear. I think again, I'm judging what someone else wants, and that's a bad. I mean, anyone glass house throwing stones. That's exactly what I'm doing as well. I think gear, when I see people that have like just insane artifacts from talent I truly respect and I'm a fan of, I think it's awesome. Would I ever have the money or the space or the dedication to curate my own museum style display like that at this stage of the business where the value is so high? Almost certainly no. But I just think it's just a dangerous game when you have, it's the same as when you have a mark promoter that overpays talent. You have fans and middlemen and whatever that are over, like, what the hell's going on? What's her gear going to be like if she ever works SmackDown or Raw? Or now that she's on AEW, she must be able to get $800-900 for her underwear. Like, it's wild to me. And
well, I do think there's an underbelly of that I shouldn't say just for the women, because I Jackson told us some stories also. I think there's sort of an underbelly of that part of the collecting world where certain types of gear, I kind of made the joke on the Facebook group, are being used for unspeakable purposes.
Yeah. And, I wonder if there's like an expiration date. Like if I go buy a pair of Greg Valentine's old underwear, essentially, and I sniff, like, I'm not going to probably smell any remnants of his balls. I would imagine that's passed from time. It's been replaced with mildew and whatever else. But
I suspect the people who are in demand is a very specific, like, demographic. right?
Yeah, so I'm saying
Like
maybe
Zayda's a
these
gorgeous girl, I mean, she is. So but and when Jackson was telling us the story in the car, he also fills a certain niche, right? So I think that it's not a surprise that certain people's stuff would be more in demand. I know I stepped all over that joke you were trying to make. My bad, but
that's it. It's fine.
It happened. So yeah, but did you never opined? You don't think Zayda ever? You did. You don't think Zayda ever sent it, right?
No, and I thought that Baker was at least smart enough to close it down after he received his money.
Nope.
But he didn't.
Nope.
He's really an idiot. And listen, I'll go on record. It's kind of cruel and unusual, but and I didn't even touch on this part. He added me on Facebook, which I'm like, I really should decline this. Like you and Greg had like a running gag in the group chat about me and how I accept basically everybody. So I said, you know what? I'll accept it, whatever. And I accepted it, and he sent me a message, said, "What's up?" And I responded back with, "Hey, what's up?" Never responded to me. And then he blocked me. So since he blocked me, and since I deleted and banned him from the group, I'm going to say it. I hope Zayda never gives him his money back and keeps the smelly underwear. And I hope he gets ripped off. And, it sucks to be a weirdo.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think what happened was he posted this thing and he expected people to commiserate with him, and like join in the decrying the injustice of what happened. And a lot of people were sort of, well, first of all, I'm going to be honest, it was very hard to slog through his posts and even reading his messages to Zayda. They were like really poorly written. And so Marked Out is kind of a funny group in that way, that if you present as dumb, people will just bury you, which I think is fun. Honestly, I think it's funny because a lot of groups aren't like that. But I think that we have one that's like that.
I do love though that was the spirit of the forum, and like there's not even that much bleed over. Most of the people on the group are brand new, but it really kept that same like spirit.
Yeah, and he was getting beat up from all different directions. Like Marcus beat on him, Chad beat on him. All these people you wouldn't expect to jump in just beating him up.
But the funny thing is, I don't think I was. I was just asking him for clarification. I want him to provide the evidence so he could I was actually helping him put his case out there in a better way.
Well, that's fine. My thing. It was funny. I was meaner to him than you were, and I don't think I didn't get blocked actually because I can still look at his dumb posts. But and I clicked this thing. But you got blocked, which is just funny. What I say, I made that joke about people, whatever, doing unspeakable things to the gear. But anyhow, it's a funny story. Once in a while, actually, it's happening more frequently. Kind of wacky antics happen on the Marked Out autograph collecting community, and that's why it's important to check it out.
Yeah.
So what else do we have? So there was another funny incident. The hobby makes the mainstream media again. This time, quirky con guest Thora Birch, who, I mean, she, it's funny because she's actually been in a lot of movies, like a lot. And because if you read the TMZ comment, they were like, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?" But she's been in a lot of stuff. Anyway, she and her husband had an altercation with an autograph hound. The video blew up, but then later there was a second video where she was shown actually signing for the guy anyway. So what's the story?
It kind of appeared like her and her husband were a slight bit intoxicated, but I'm not sure because when we saw her at Monster Mania, she seemed the same way, which she may have been intoxicated then, or that's just her general like aura of like discombobulation. I don't know which it was, but it seemed like the guy was I guess aggressive in some way. The husband. You had the airport stalking warriors out that were like, oh, she owes nothing. But I mean, unless he was hitting her with the pictures, the husband crossed the line, like ripping this crap out of his hand and shredding it. Like, you don't take someone's property, even if it's 8x10s of your wife's face, presumably, and start ripping them up. That's escalating the situation to a level it didn't have to be. She could have done the tried and true, I'll get you later. She could have just done one and kept it moving. She could have just said no, and that still wouldn't have been to that level. The husband, from what I gathered, and granted I didn't see the whole encounter, seemed to escalate it more than he needed to by ripping the photos. Because even if he was being aggressive and physical or whatever, ripping the photos isn't going to make him less aggressive, isn't going to make him less in your space. You're just going to antagonize a crazy person that's waiting outside of a public event for you. So I think the husband was wrong to rip it in the sense he made it worse.
Yeah, I mean, as a general rule, if you want to de-escalate a situation, even if you believe you are righteous, even if you believe you are correct, if you think a situation is getting out of hand in public, you want to de-escalate. You don't want to escalate. They escalated.
Yeah. And then if you do escalate, don't be surprised. Like, oh, why are you filming? I don't understand why you're filming. Because I can make money from this because your wife has some level of notoriety. And TMZ will at least buy me a lunch in exchange for this video. So yeah, you're acting crazy. You're escalating. I'm going to record you and sell it because I'm not a moron.
So that's the Thora Birch thing. I don't think this really has any impact. It's just, to me, the story here, and that's because I'm nuts, is that the damn hobby keeps appearing in the news.
I mean, yeah, I think we gotta accept that, the little speakeasy niche of humanity that we've resided in, it ain't that niche anymore. I mean, you have Fanatics Fest that's like a cultural phenomenon that centers largely around combos. TMZ is starting to, they run a lot of different autograph related stories. A lot of their main, their videographers are in the trenches with the graphers right there, gathering stuff. It's not what it once was.
No, that's true. I do think that's probably fueling a lot of the increase in pricing across the board.
Yeah.
Is how mainstream the hobby has gotten, and I for one don't like it at all. I'm one of those people that I want to maintain my niche forever. I know that's idiotic thinking, but
I get it. But I'm one of those people where, yeah, I'm paying more for the crap I get, but it's nice to at least feel like you're, they're not just playing with penny chips. That at least there's some actual value in the pointlessness of our lives, gathering all this crap.
Only to have it thrown away when you die.
I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna have descendants that will love the combo. It'll be fun.
I can't decide which form of combo god torture is gonna befall you. Like having a kid who doesn't like combos at all, having a kid who likes
them too much,
likes them too much, right? Woo! Yeah, exactly.
Pretty good. I have a miniature Jerry.
Honestly, nothing would surprise me because the universe is very funny like that. And any of those scenarios would be, highly entertaining.
If when my future child walks towards the school bus for its first day of school, if the backpack is just sliding down past the arms and this weird arm fat and different things in typical Jerry fashion with that backpack that somehow is never fully on but never drops. It just dangles in suspension. I will know I have a problem on my hands.
But the worst part about it is by the time it gets to that point, you won't be able to do anything about it. It's too late.
Hence why it's a problem. It is what it is. At that point, you got to just help them meet every K-pop demon hunter and other washed up celebrities that they need to satisfy their
Maybe
needs.
The answer is to forbid them from doing any kind of combo hunting or anything, so they can't possibly turn out that way. It's extreme, but sometimes it's almost like a what's her face, like a Snow White kind of thing, or Sleeping Beauty kind of thing, where you just disappear and you don't give them access to the hobby, and if they never get access to it, then they can't succumb to it, right?
I mean, listen, I'm going to shoot a little bit right here, and then we're going to move on, because I think this is going to be something I'm going to ask you after we do this, if we should cut it, and we're not going to cut it. So here I go. As far as being a parent with a child in the hobby, I think sort of shooting for the moon would be you end up being Sean and Finn. I think that's probably the the best case scenario. I think the worst case scenario is being like that Morgan guy and his mom, where like his mom like
oh my god,
porn conventions. So I mean, fingers crossed for Sean and Finn. That's my goal.
Oh god, I cannot believe you went in that direction. But you can judge by my guffaws that oh Jesus Christ.
And we're not cutting it. It's fine. We're gonna let it rock.
I mean, it's if you know, you know.
Yeah.
There are certain people where you go, geez, man, you don't expect your kid to anyway. What else do we have here? I put this on the thing. I don't know if you did. Did you see this news story? I sent it to you, but
I saw it in traffic on my way home tonight. I didn't really look at it. I just read the headline.
So there was recently the sale of an Action Comics #1. I believe it was a CGC 9. That comic, even though the seller was private, people who know the hobby believe, and they have pretty compelling evidence that the seller of that comic was one Nicolas Cage. And what's interesting to me is that Nicolas Cage, he won that poll for celebrity most likely to do of the A-lister most likely to do a con, and I don't know, with $15 or $15 million, I should say, there's a pretty good chance we ain't seeing Nicolas Cage at a con in the short term.
Hopefully, it gets damaged in transit or something, and the whole sale is voided. I mean,
what an extraordinary thing that even the fact that Action Comics #1, and I haven't really been a comics guy in decades. I was a comics guy when I was 12, but Action Comics #1 is the most famous comic ever released. It's probably the most important comic ever released. It copies like that. I mean, I think the last time it sold was 100,000. It has grown in value so exponentially. I'm not even using that to exaggerate. It went from 4 figures to 5 figures to 6 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures. Holy, where is the limit on something like this? And truthfully, where comics and sports cards go, autographs aren't too far behind, which is kind of my connection to this hobby. We're seeing now investment companies are advising people to have a certain amount of, when they're diversifying their portfolios, they have a certain amount, not a lot, but a certain amount in collectibles because the growth has been so meteoric, which I just find fascinating because that kind of it's counterintuitive. It goes against every conventional piece of investment advice ever. So I just think that's kind of an interesting trend. Something we really haven't talked about. In this comic book, granted, I don't think we're going to see any $15 million autographs anytime soon, but again, where comics and sports cards and stamps and coins go, autographs are not too far behind because all these hobbies are connected. The same kinds of people are involved in all of them. I just thought that was an interesting story.
No, it definitely is, and I think that would definitely change a little bit of his long-term con prospects. I mean, $15 million, that's a nice little direct deposit to hit his account.
No, I know Nicolas Cage is infamous for just wasting money. That's one of his things, that he's constantly in tremendous debt. He spends money very frivolously. It's his reputation.
Send him our link.
Yeah, right. Maybe he'll just buy out all of our VSK promos.
Wow, taking shots at poor VSK. We've never said his name before. We've always, well, that's not his name. Those are his initials. But
if anyone wants to buy a VSK promo, or what's the other guy? The guy we had a big event, the first show we did.
Oh, Encore More.
If anyone wants to buy any Encore More promos or any VSK promos, we will cut you an astonishing deal.
Encore is now an aerobics. He's now an aerobics trainer. So I mean, if you want to start a Zumba collection, I mean, pick it up.
He was a very, very nice guy. Just didn't sell worth a damn.
I think he pulled the cord on his career a little too soon. But I mean, he's built himself a very, very on the surface at least, it seems to be a very successful business.
Well, I mean, first of all, he was in ridiculous shape. He's just short.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of short guys that manage to make some level of a career out of it.
I don't think that many.
I guess, but look at Neville. He looks like a damn hobbit, and he manages to still, he's making money.
I guess. I mean, he's also very, very talented. But I digress. I really didn't intend to make jokes about Porankor more. He is a very nice guy.
Well, I was complimenting his business, so I mean, I'm making up for my Morgan comment.
Oh no, that you cannot make up for the Morgan comment. That's like very bad. That's very bad. Anyway, you sent me the story about John Cena.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I imagine this was sort of connected to someone on the Major Pod group posted that they got Cena at, what the hell was the con he was last at? Was that New Orleans?
One of the Fan Expos.
Yeah, it was New Orleans. And he hit the items, the figures in Sharpie. And the fan made the statement that John Cena doesn't use paint pen, which was completely taken a bit out of context. Apparently, he didn't have any paint pens at his table. The fan asked, like, where are your paint pens? And Cena's like, I don't use them. That doesn't mean he doesn't use them if you provide one. It just means that the person stocking the table that John Cena had nothing to do with didn't put them out there, and Cena was just making some sort of an excuse. So after he's turned a lot of people into an uproar because they were seeing him at upcoming shows and thought, oh crap, now he has some weird rule about paint pens, it turned into a thing which I even commented on, that you always got to bring your own paint pen. And then the Major Pod merch machine coined the acronym, which I feel like you and I may have spitballed something about this when we were coming up with shirt designs. But I mean, we didn't make it. So I mean, I definitely can't take any sort of, we had it first because we didn't. But I'm jealous. BYOPP, bring your own paint pen. And they made this graphic with the Major Pod logo and branding. And then John Cena as his awesome Instagram. And I'm not being sarcastic. It's actually very fun the way he handles his Instagram, where each day he posts a photo with no caption, no context, no anything. It's just, there's the photo. It speaks for itself. And he dropped the BYOPP graphic.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And conceptually, it's really funny. I mean, Cena has genuinely one of like the best senses of humor. This is just one of those things. It's and again, it's sort of a mainstream wink at the hobby, right?
Yeah. And I got to figure out how we can sort of make a shirt that's different, but not that different, because I want to have a shirt about this paint pen thing.
That's funny. But it's a pretty funny. Look, I guess with Major Pod, if they do 10 million things, they're bound to do one funny thing. So that would track. Wow. Speaking of funny things, I mean, literally the biggest conglomeration of freaks on the internet, besides maybe like 4chan. Anyway, there was a funny thing that went on with Pinstripe Pride, which is they're a company that books like sports cons, I guess specifically Yankee related, I assume. I don't really know too much about Pinstripe Pride, but anyway, they have a con coming up, and I guess they must have had some kind of conflict. It wasn't clear exactly what the nature of the conflict was, but they had some kind of conflict where they had booked player Mike Torres for the show, and I guess there was some kind of dispute about the terms of his signing, and he pulled out of the show. Which, it happens once in a while. And Pinstripe Pride ripped him so hard that they actually made fun of how few pre-orders. They said when they canceled him, in their cancellation post, they wrote, "We've refunded all 4 pre-orders for Mike Torres." Which, I mean, that's a really, frankly, nuclear thing to do. And they did it. And I was a little bit taken aback. I mean, it's funny because, I mean, anytime there's sort of general misfortune, it's kind of funny. But what's actually even funnier is that I guess they worked it out with Mike Torres and they rebooked him again.
I hope those 4 fans repurchased.
Yeah, because now once you refunded them, so the odds of recapturing all 4, I don't know. It might be a little difficult.
We had that problem with what the hell was her name? Kelly Madden. When we had to canceled, we refunded. I think we actually recaptured most of those sales somehow.
We did,
but
I really think only Izzy bought her. To be fair,
so we recaptured Izzy.
I think so.
We love Izzy, but anyway, I mean,
Kelly Madden completely bombed that appearance at that show. That makes me mad, honestly, thinking about it. I said it.
I don't think we ever even talked about that, but she's supposed to wear her gear for the appearance, and then she I'm gonna wait and see if the other girls put on their gear. And I remember I looked at her and I said, or you could be the only one that puts on their gear and make more money, because the nature of the deal where she was getting a percentage of what she made. And guess what? She didn't put on the gear, didn't make much money, and I'm not gonna go any deeper than that, but it was definitely disappointing.
I think I wound up throwing her a couple extra bucks, which I really was annoyed about, to be honest.
Yeah, because at that point we didn't know about validating the parking, so I think the money she paid on parking was more than she paid at the table.
To be fair, High Spots never told anyone about validating the parking. We paid for the damn vendor table, and they never told us.
It was one of those unspoken. I mean, I think a lot of the vendors figured it out. So I mean, I guess in that case we were the limited adults, because we didn't figure it out until it was far too late. And oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah, that show, it was all right, but it did have some issues with it. But honestly, the biggest issue was that Kelly Madden just woke up that day, decided she didn't want to make any money. It was really strange, honestly. I mean, we knew it was going to be a tough sell just because we canceled her and rebooked her. And anytime that happens, it's not good.
And we rushed the damn banner on her too, which
I did. I paid extra money for the banner. Big waste of money. Yeah, that's an annoying one, because she did so well at WrestleBash and then just bombed catastrophically so just when you think someone's going to do well and then they, just unexpectedly bomb, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, she's one we kind of always kept in the rotation. We're like, oh well, because I mean, to her credit, she's nice and she's easy enough to work with. So it's no brainer after the first go around, but second one didn't make any sense or dollars.
Yeah. She kind of had a little bit of an attitude, and that was weird. And honestly, the revelation at that show was working with Emily J. Honestly.
Oh, yeah. Emily J made everyone else look bad, because she comes in ready to work. She's dialed in. She's got her finger on the pulse of all the fans out there.
I actually, despite the fact that she's a 21-year-old kid, she's funny. I actually I would kind of jab back and forth with her, and she's funny.
No, I enjoy bullshitting with her. She's entertaining to have at the table.
And she actually is she's highly observant of her surroundings. She's very smart. She's extremely professional. I will never say a bad thing about Emily J. She is great.
Future star.
For sure. What else? So we had Rick and Ink Wednesday this week. I just picked, there was some that I really, really enjoyed this week, honestly. My favorite, to be honest, was Crossfire Scott's picture with teenage Jeff Jarrett with his grandmother and Jerry Lawler, and that whole story of getting it signed. I just thought that was fantastic.
Crossfire's been around forever. He may predate us, and I'm not calling him old, but he's been in the hobby forever, and he has a collection that shows that he has some great stuff. I always love. He's one of the names that when I'm scrolling through these weekly threads, when I see his name, I sort of go to his first, because I know it's going to be something really cool, and this is no different.
Yeah, it was really funny, and just honestly, the Jeff Jarrett looks hilarious. He's a literal child with braces, and then just telling the whole story about Jarrett, how Lawler carnied him basically. Jarrett liked it, and then Cornette joked about it. Honestly, these guys all behaved exactly how you'd expect them to behave, right?
Yep.
Which is great. Mike posted a Mr. Met Funko signed by Jerry Seinfeld and Keith Hernandez. Were you envious of that?
Yeah, and I also always like when people drop, like, when someone dies, it's kind of, I've done it. It's kind of like the low hanging fruit of like a reference and a connection that you make in what you post. But I like the poor little rat didn't get his bobblehead done. So then this dude, which I'm assuming is sort of a play off that, wanted to
I
show
hope
off
it was anyway.
yeah, I'm assuming, which a little bit of an asshole kind of thing to do, because you're like rubbing, but that's the hobby.
Oh,
That's
I liked it.
You got to rub
Like,
someone's face in something you got.
I popped for it. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe he was being a little bit of an a-hole, but good. That's the spirit of the hobby.
If you're not showing off what you got in someone else's face, what's the point of even being alive, right?
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's what this is. If you can't like in your head flaunt some faux scarcity, come on, it's the best. It's the best. Anyway, so that was awesome. And then just for your benefit, for me to
scarcity.
I was going to harass and antagonize you, which is the only reason why I picked this one. Jason posted his green card Hasbro 123 kid signed.
One day I'm going to dip my entire carcass into the green waters. I need my arbitrary and constantly changing rules is that I want at least one of every card color. So I need at least one green.
That's that's just a random farcical thing that you created.
I know. I mean, at this point, I think I have 3 purples already. So I mean, all that's out the window. At this point, I'm getting as much as I can get.
And one of the purples that you got to get rid of and replace because of the smear.
No, it's fine. It's the most famous thumb in wrestling. Which, by the way, when I made the show graphic for that episode, I had the idea to take Hacksaw Jim Duggan's thumb and make it like extra large, so it would convey the thumb of the thumbing of the inscription. But a really large thumb is really just a penis, and that's what it looked like. It looked like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, holding some wood, and it just didn't look right. So I took away the large thumb. So
this is the second direct penile reference on this episode. That's alarming.
What's the record?
I think we're at it. I think we've hit it, and it was totally unplanned.
You're welcome, America, and the other countries that we have invaded.
That's it for Mechanic Wednesday. We actually don't have a photo with Friday yet because we recorded this episode early. Dana's really unavailable this weekend. What?
You really should have let me scramble, because I was ready to find the photo with Friday, because I'm so just autopilot of my usual routine. I'm not sure if I would have ran last week's again, or if I would have just looked around saying, where the hell is it? But I did not realize it's not Friday yet, because I don't think we ever recorded on a Thursday.
We never have.
No.
That's not true. That was once that we did, but it was before Photo with Friday. So
yeah, and it was probably an interview week where, that makes sense.
Those weeks we were all crazy with the scheduling.
Yeah.
So we do have some con ads that made their way around the world this week. Chill Out added Mark Britton, who's I guess an anime voice actor. And he also and I was looking. I don't know anime. That's another one of those things I don't know. And Melissa and Joe Gorga. Who are they? Did you know who they are?
I don't.
I feel like I looked them up and I go, oh, they're from that. Oh, it's like a Real Housewife thing. Oh. That's where they're from. I don't watch Real Housewives, but I'm familiar with its existence. So
listen, Chill Out is a well-rounded show. They have headline talent that would rival any other show. And every Christmas tree has a back of a Christmas tree. That's not always the most pretty and decorated, but you got to have all the branches.
More obscure guests. There are people who will go to shows only for them. You know what I mean?
I'm saying it's not for me, but it's good.
They have weird drawing power. Some of these people, which it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Mark Britton guy will draw because those anime voice actors draw. They do.
Yeah.
Then I feel like a schmuck. I don't know who this is, but hey, if they're drawing money for the promoter, then that means something. So anyhow, Rhode Island has started putting guests out, which it seems very early for that. Am I crazy?
I had the same reaction. Like, I'm here for it just for pod content, but I was a little bit like, wait, what month are we in? Like, I didn't think it started in January. I thought it started like, I don't know, March, April. But I was also looking for a photo with Friday post on Thursday, so who the hell knows how accurate I am?
But they added Titus Welliver. Any thoughts about that ad, or you're silent on it?
No, I think it's a cool. That's one of those names that you've seen his face in like a million things.
A million things, yes.
Yeah, I mean it's an awesome. I'm triple checking to make sure I'm right, but I believe he's the guy that was in Sons of Anarchy in a pretty important little role. Like, he's that show Bosch that was actually well received as far as the critics go. It's a cool name. You don't see him. I don't think he's done any con around here. I'll probably get him as of now, but I mean, we'll see where I'm at come showtime and how deep my budget is. He may go the way of Degrassi.
That's funny. What else? Steel City added Kevin Nealon. I mean, has he done cons before? I think, to me, that's a huge name.
I don't think he has. I agree. It's a fun name for sure. I think that era of Saturday Night Live, anything like that, is just sort of a bit iconic. It just is. He's been in the Sandler movies. He's a fun name. And it's one of those names that Steel gets. And you may see him at Rhode Island. You may see him other places. And you also may not. That's sort of what Steel does. They will sprinkle these people in that do nothing else. Ever.
Yeah.
So he's on my list.
That was really cool. And also, Steel City also added Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys, who always draws crazy numbers. Always.
Is that going to get your sister-in-law out, or she's all good with Nick Carter?
I texted my brother. My brother really does not want to go to Steel City ever, but I did text him to let him know. What's funny is that his kids, like when he drives them places, they listen to the podcast in the car, and so his kids pop for when he's mentioned on the show. So,
so I mentioned penises twice, and now I gotta know his kids listen.
One of them has one, so it's not a big deal. But two of them. What am I saying? There's just two boys. I was like, what? Anyway. Where am I going with this? I mean, Nick Carter's a monstrous draw. If you've ever seen Nick Carter, is like a fascinating person to watch at a con because he has a, shall we say, very, very aggressively enthusiastic fan base, and he treats them all. He really knows how to work the system. He treats them all like they are unique, special human beings. It's fascinating to watch. He's a master. He's a master at getting these women separated from their money. Genius,
do you think he's one of or building some form of the headline? We haven't really had a headliner yet, and I was kind of excited about the prospect of what it could be.
He's probably one of the headliners. Yeah, I mean, his line will be wrapped around the building.
Yeah, that's my fear.
I don't care what show there is. He always draws. It's fascinating to watch, and women will often go to every one of his appearances. You know what I mean? It's not like you get him and you're gone. He's just consistently has this drawing power. It's I mean, look, it's not a surprise. I mean, he's in arguably one of the most popular music groups ever, certainly in terms of sales. I mean, they did astronomical numbers for their time period, back when music really sold. I mean, today it just doesn't sell anymore. But so he has this universal kind of recognizability among a particular demographic. So I remember watching, because when I went to 90s Con that time and just watching his line and my sister-in-law, she got up there and she bought like he has you can do a video with him where he talks to you or he sings a little snippet of a song to you, the autographs, the photo ops, he has all the voicemail, all these different things he has as options. So they're very smart, and he makes these videos, and every time you make a video with him, it's different. Obviously, he'll do a little different snippet or something like that.
No, it's definitely smart. I'm just selfishly going to hope that they're not going to do like a full like Backstreet Boys reunion and like that's the headline. Like I was hoping for like a Hayden Christensen, who I need, or something like
it
that.
would be interesting if they tried that because I think that would make stupid money for them.
I think it would be a smart call. I want one juicy headliner on top of what I already want. But what am I?
Believe me, I don't want him. I'm saying it's a thing that it's a booking Nick Carter is a great business move, although he does cancel fairly often.
Talk about would that be the first main con that would be headlined by music?
Well, I mean, I think he headlined 90s Con now when he did it.
I guess. Probably.
He was certainly one of the headliners. I mean, he was featured all over the advertising, and his line never stopped. Never. It was crazy the whole time. But anyway, I it's always an interesting ad when they book big names, even if it's a big name that I don't want or care about. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Monster Mania had a couple of significant ads. Unfortunately, nothing really for me. They added Ariane Cartea, who is, I mean, you're not going to know that name because he's like a 10-year-old kid, but he's another one of the kids from Welcome to Derry.
And this is an important kid. This is an important kid.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah. I mean, I know you're being a little silly here, but yes, this was one of the kids that was a little more important than some of the other ones that have been added. So that's actually a cool one. I kind of popped for that.
I mean, Dave is one of the masters of doing this kind of thing where he gets a reunion together, especially on the early curve of some of these properties, and he's able to get these kids to come in. And if the show takes off big, they're not going to be available next time around. They don't need to, So
and I think the show take off big. I urge you before this show, watch like 2 episodes, see if it's for you before you pass by this opportunity.
You sound like Don West.
Gentleman 10.
Verifying on another one. All these things. Did I ever tell you when I was in high school, I used to stay over my friend Brett's house, and we would just watch Don West on Shop at Home all night. That's what we did. And we would do like our impressions of him selling autographs and Beanie Babies and stuff.
I don't think you ever did, but that's funny.
So like when I met Don West at that TNA Fan Fest, it meant something for me beyond his work in TNA, because I think he's hilarious. He's like a textbook definition of a con man, selling garbage to people that's worth nothing. And they love it. They love him for it. That's the best part. What else? They also added Jake the Snake. I think Jake.
Go on.
Who courtesy of who?
Hastel Toys.
I think Jake does well with a show like Monster Mania. I really do.
I think he will as well. And let the record state, Mitch has better Hasbro-style retro Jake the Snake figures than Hasbro itself. The one with him with the snake, like the coal miner's glove and the cobra, is ridiculous. It is far better than the original Hasbro. So I think he'll do quite well there with Jake.
I like the original Hasbro. I thought it captured his vibe.
I do too, but the one with the cobra is insane. Literally insane. I actually may end up buying it and getting it signed at this event.
Stop it.
I think I will.
I forgot to put on the list here that I'm going to rip on you now for.
We're not done yet. We still have one more Monster Mania ad.
All right, fine. And they also added Skeet Ulrich. I mean, you can say, what was my comment to you? You texted me they added Skeet Ulrich.
You think the well may have or will eventually run dry. And
it has to, doesn't it?
My counter to you is the Skeet Ulrich line will never be dry.
It's hard because you're probably right, but it blows my mind.
Did you see what I did there?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're talking about the women and the secretion of bodily fluids,
yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay. I just don't understand how it's never ending. The demand is just nonstop.
Well, here's what you're not understanding, which I take that back. You are understanding because it's not hard to understand. For some people, I'm not one of them. Scream is on the level of a Freddy, of anything, of Halloween. And if you can get one of the main people from one of those franchises, it never goes out of style. You could bring Jamie Lee Curtis to actually Jamie Lee Curtis is a bad example because she's so deep elsewhere in her resume. But anyone from those franchises, Robert Englund, for example, will never stop drawing ever, and that's what this guy is. He is that he is Robert Englund with sex appeal. So
you just revealed that you have a crush on Skeet Ulrich.
I have more of a crush on Robert Englund, but who's counting?
So, what I wanted to rip on you for, you know what? I'll do it after the break. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, please email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. All links are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. And if you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. Also, please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, or if you hate it, or anything in between. Subscribe. Smash that button on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or all three. And make sure you leave us a rating or review, It's funny. So we still have 5 stars on Apple Podcast. We're down to 4.6 on Spotify, which means my guess is a limited adult got into Spotify and gave us a lower rating.
Did it take Richie that long to figure out how to leave a rating?
Maybe to count to 5. I was looking through. We used to really enjoy the comments on YouTube. We never really got any comments on Spotify. I like comments, so feel free. I know most of the engagement happens on Facebook, and of course we want it that way. But the engagement on those posts really helps us. It helps our content be served to new people, and that's how we end up growing the community. And honestly, we've had some really cool random people join the community that have stuck around, and we're glad that they came aboard. So any engagement you can give us would be much appreciated.
Agreed.
And we're changing our special sale. So we're adding to our special sale. So we're running a special sale on autographed Ari Lehman Jason Funko Pops with a sketch of a drowning Jason, that scene from Friday Part 1. $50 shipped. So Halloween time, that Funko, we sell it $90 shipped all day long. We're trying to clear up some space. So $50 shipped for that Funko is well below market value. You must email or DM to buy. That price is not public on eBay or the website. There's a second sale we have going on. As you might have heard, the Vanity Project, their autographs have suddenly gone up in value and gone up in demand. Well, we do have an incredibly limited. It's an 11 by 14 shot of the Vanity Project in the ring, and it's signed by all 5 original Vanity Project members: Jackson Drake, Swipe Right, Brad Baylor, and Ricky Smokes, and AEW Zayda Steel. I don't know if she's wearing the gear that she supposedly sold to Josh Baker. Maybe, I don't know. And also Bryce Donovan, and all 5 have signed that 11 by 14, and we are letting those go at a rock bottom price of $50. When are we ending that sale?
I guess the end of January.
End of January. We don't even have that many. No. So, and we are the only ones to ever have this. You'll never have it again. The opportunity will not be present again. That's it. It's done. $50, all 5 people, 11 by 14. It's sick design, one of Dana's original designs. It's actually such a sick design. I held one back for my personal collection, right? You can vouch for that?
You do. You did. And we're the only ones that have it. The guys actually wanted one for themselves, and we ran the prints for them, but they somehow ended up forgetting them. And now it's so
twice they forgot them.
I'm saying I don't even think remember they wanted them. So I mean, I don't even think I'll bring them if we see them again. But
we do have them on. Maybe bring them and get them signed.
But we have to find the other 2 again.
Yeah, we'll find them. It's fine. But anyway, $50 shipped again on those. Honestly, if you have any kind of sense of value, that's a no-brainer. So the story of this week, and I alluded to it just now, is really it's honestly a perfect sort of reflection. We at the end of last year we talked about whether we achieved our goals and all those kinds of things, and we reflected on how sort of our biggest achievement was. We were the people booking the Vanity Project for their public appearances, their non-wrestling public appearances, in 2025. We booked 2 public signings. Is that right? Just 2. And then
Correct.
how many private signings? 4.
Yeah, it's
And
a busy year
with them. And we were pretty invested in their success. I mean, I talked about being second row at MSG, and we talked about what it was like. Brad Baylor sitting at my kitchen table, where I'm gonna blow up his spot right now. He was signing prints that, as it turns out, his dad had ordered from us to give out to his friends, which was just, I mean, kind of awesome and endearing, and obviously as a supportive father, but it was just funny. And seeing these guys sign WWE full salary WWE contracts, will be working at NXT. Dana, we predicted this. We called it. We were saying to people, buy these now, get these guys now. You will not get another chance. What are your thoughts?
It's wild. I want to make this clear. I did not train these guys. I did not birth these guys. I did not have any impact or role in anything as far as where they are. I didn't know their drive, their talent. That's them. I think we've played some degree of a role of like promotion and different things and promoting our own stuff. We promote them. I think, we appreciate them. I know they appreciate us. So I mean, we've definitely played some part in, I think, everything. But I mean, grand scheme of things, very little. So I'm not taking any credit for anything because there's no credit that belongs to us in this. But with that said, it's extremely surreal. And I was talking to Brad about this at Big Event. I said to him, and I'm not sure if I talked about this on the air yet, we were messaging Brad a year plus prior to the ID program being a thing, when Brad basically said, like, I don't do signings, I'm too new, I'm busy, I'm booked, whatever, I don't do signings. And then once the ID system became a thing, I hit him up again. And he remembered, obviously, that we hit him up, like, way before. So, like, and we tried to hit up Jackson, but trying to DM Jackson is like, I think you have a better chance DMing Trump and getting a reply than that dude does not.
I mean, the only way we got in touch with Jackson was that our good friend Gil booked him on a show and got us in contact with him.
And he hooked us up with that. Jackson, whenever you're with Jackson, you look at his phone. That dude's got a million different notifications.
It's actually uncomfortable to see how many notifications he has on it. And I said, "Are you out of your mind?" And he just laughed.
Yeah, he doesn't read anything. It's very, even now, like it's always like sort of tricky. Like if it's really important, if you hit Jackson up, if we hit him up with something important, he gets back to you. But like in general, like it's just you're swimming out in the ocean with Jackson. But anyway, to see that like we had been trying for such a long time to do this, and then we booked them and we advertised, and I mean, when you're selling something, there's some level of salesmanship in everything we do. Like everything we just pushed on our sale is salesmanship to some degree. We want to sell. If we were selling at a price that would hurt us, we wouldn't do that. So the price is good for you, it's good for us. But at least I'm speaking for me, I believed you could have put a gun to my head, Russian roulette style. Every time I said these guys are going to hit, I believed it. I believe it now. I'm watching it. They're on NXT. They were in that shot when Saints came down, and they sort of zoomed, and Jackson was there, looking back at their entrance ramp as Saints is coming down. All of that type of thing is somewhat, WWE is not just haphazardly throwing things together. These guys this is the start of something bigger. And we sort of, I'm going to say it, we told you so. We told you so. After the NXT debut, I gave that night, and we woke up to some sales, and guess what I did that morning? I raised the prices. I was texting you, how high should we put them? The eBay prices went up. If you want the Evolve prices, well, guess what, pal? You should have bought them when they were in Evolve. They're in NXT now. You're paying the NXT prices.
And I honestly, with the quantity that we have and held back, then we'll be selling for main roster prices at some point.
The price is going up. Listen, if you ever been on a train or a bus, we just hit one stop. There's more to come. Those prices aren't coming down. They are not coming down. If you think that that we're bashful and we start lowering prices, look at our Olivia and Leonard stock. We have exclusive prints, and I think honestly our NXT prices are still super fair. We have them on eBay now. It's like what, $34.99 shipped for NXT talent. That's still reasonable, but it was cheaper than that when they were not there. Prices go up, whether you live, whether you die. When things happen and your stock rises, so does the price.
100%. And hundos, right? Should I think we were debating whether to reveal this publicly, but I think we ought to. So
no, we have to.
So pretty much very shortly after Big Event, we reached out to all three boys again, and we're like, listen, we would love to have you back in March. Obviously, your living circumstances have changed. But we kayfabed this, but they all moved down to Orlando, kind of in anticipation of being signed. And so they weren't signed yet, but they had already moved. And so, having them up here was a little bit more of a financial challenge, just a little bit more of a logistical challenge. But I was willing to pony up, and I convinced you to be willing to pony up too. So we said, you know what? Will you come out in March to Big Event again, as long as WWE allows that circumstance to occur? And all three unequivocally said yes. They want to be at Big Event in March. And we agreed, and we came to an agreement that they would do Big Event in March. And now we're kind of in a pickle. So we didn't announce. And we really agonized over this. We didn't announce the booking because one thing we've learned from our past bookings that we've had to cancel, I hate canceling. I hate issuing refunds. I hate that sense of disappointment, like I did something wrong, or there's always like a little bit of a shady thing when at least I feel that way when someone cancels. I feel bad about it, and so I never wanted to do that announcement for this upcoming March because I had the feeling that we might have to cancel them. And so as of right now, I think we can be very transparent. The Vanity Project is booked for Big Event, but we don't yet know if WWE will give them permission to attend. And so we're in limbo. And there is a very good chance that we will be in limbo for the near future. We've reached out to a contact who we hope will be able to grease that wheel a little bit and make that happen. But the truth of the matter is, and I'm going to be very transparent, even if they tell us, yes, we're definitely going to be allowed to do it, it's still possible they get pulled towards the end, because then it depends on whatever their other duties and responsibilities and travel are. So we're going to announce this booking. We do have Vanity Project booked for Big Event, and guess what? Their prices are going to be higher.
Yeah,
but we're not
going to Evolve prices.
But we're not going to make a formal announcement. We're not putting up graphics. We're not taking pre-orders until we have a commitment that they will be allowed to attend, because we don't know. And did I explain that properly? Did I leave anything out?
No. I think maybe me recording post work. Maybe I'm going a little crazy today on less sleep than I usually have. But I agree with you. I never wanted to announce because I hate canceling. I hate refunding. Unlike a lot of the vendors out there, and this might be saying a little too much and being a little too hostile, but we don't need your early pre-sales to pay for 17 other things we're doing between now and the actual thing you're paying for. So we don't need your money now. So it's like, these are NXT talents. If they showed up cold, walked in the door, was like, surprise, we're here, we would do incredible business because people will want to see NXT talent at a big event convention, which it doesn't happen often. It's, it really hasn't happened much since the Fitterman deal was in place. WWE talent does not do AJ Lee. AJ Lee was the last time it happened. I'm hopeful that our contact can get us in contact with someone down in NXT or up in Stamford that we can, clear this up, that we had the booking in place, and hopefully they can honor it. But like you said, even if they say, sure, they can do it, obviously the office comes first, and whatever their requirements there are, a convention booking does not supersede that.
It's tough because there is a precedent for guys who get signed to be allowed to finish their bookings that were already done. We reached out to some indie promoters who have had these guys booked, past today. Those promoters are not optimistic that we'll be able to use them. But I also think taking bumps on a show is a little bit different from signing autographs, but also WWE gets a little bit squishy about having their talent appear on autograph shows where AEW talent is present. It's just not a thing they like. But also, I mean, given the circumstances here, I'm not entirely writing off the possibility this could happen.
No, I'm not. I'm not overly optimistic. Like I said last week, this is probably the worst kept secret. Because
you go running around flapping your gums like Jerry.
I do, but I mean, certain people. I mean, we have supporters and customers like that girl Jules. That's a training and aspiring wrestler. She has supported us at every Vanity Project stop, and I am convinced will be a future talent on one of our shows that we will bring her to because she's going to make it. And when she hits me up and says, "Hey, are you guys doing anything with the Vanity Project again?" I'm not gonna kayfabe her. Maybe I should.
That's half the fun. Come on.
Yeah. Listen, I don't kayfabe. The true supporters, the people that have been down with us and supporting us, I try to be a little more Jerry.
No, you gotta say send me $10 and I'll forward your text to Jackson. That's what you gotta do. Come on. It's wrestling. But in all seriousness, it's actually insane. And it's weird because we've been saying all along, we were predicting this was going to happen. These guys were going to get signed. I knew it 2 years ago with Jackson, 3 years ago, whatever it was, when I saw the indie videos on Instagram, and I'm like, this kid is nuts. You said it with Brad, watching it's same thing, indie videos on Instagram, right?
Yeah. And let's say something else. Yeah. I kind of, before I met him, before I saw him in Evolve, I kind of thought that Smokes might just sort of, I wasn't so sure. I hadn't seen much of Smokes. I thought, Smokes might not really be as strong as the other two. And he is stepping up. He is.
What did I text you the other day?
Yeah.
Smokes has been killing it on so many levels lately. He makes sure he knows exactly where that camera is and knows how to play every one of all these big theatrical bumps, all the facial expressions. He comes out with these little funny lines that he times them flawlessly.
Yeah.
Smokes really has been impressing me so much because I know we never talk about him, but recently I've been cracking up at his stuff.
I thought it might be like a Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy kind of situation.
It is not that.
I think we got two Jeff Hardys minus the drug addiction.
Yeah. Have to go there. I'm thrilled for these guys. I understand there is a strong possibility, a strong likelihood that we will never work with them again. But the truth of it is, you go on eBay and you try and buy their stuff. We have the goods, but we have their stuff, and we know that's lots of dog crap of theirs is going to start hitting the market once things like it hit the airport. Although I'm going to be, we joked about this. I don't think Brad's signing for you at the airport. I don't think so. No. So good luck with that one.
I saw the last airport photo I saw of Brad. I actually forgot to I think it was after Big Event. I was like waiting to like make fun of him about this. He looks like someone shoved like an apple up his ass or something in that photo. He looks so miserable. And I love to see it. Like, you should be miserable. You're being harassed by people that aren't putting money in your pockets. And I get I'm a hypocrite for that. And it's largely because I have stock. It's not because I'm moral and holier than thou. And it's not right to harass talent. Harass talent. Just don't harass talent that we have stock on, because you should be buying it from us.
Yeah, and I just, I know how hard these guys have worked. I know, it's a weird thing when you sit next to somebody for hours and they, and these are young guys, so they're telling you about their hopes and dreams and kind of what they've done so far, and what their vision is. And I mean, look, I was joking. What was I joking with? I forget. I was teasing Brad about, oh yeah, there's nothing like going to an indie show and learning you're gonna do a job for Tony Atlas and he's not gonna take a single bump, and they just having this kind of sort of humorous interactions with these guys and getting to know them a little bit. And really, I mean, nobody has pimped these guys harder than we have. I mean, I was replying to every freaking tweet by WWE or WBID program or NXT or whatever. Whenever the videos were on there, you are relentless and religious about reposting their Instagram stories, and we have done anything humanly possible to promote these guys, partly for our own benefit, but also partly because we're kind of true believers.
Yeah.
And
this is where money where my mouth is. I will, which is probably sooner than later, when NXT releases like a Vanity Project t-shirt, I will be buying it. When there's figures, even those crappy looking basic ones, I'll buy them.
Could you imagine if they did a 3-pack? They don't do 3-packs anymore.
Huh.
Maybe they can maybe a ringside. I'm getting ahead of myself. They've been signed for 2 days. Yeah. I actually believe they officially signed like a week ago, and then it was kept secret until they unveiled it on. Yeah.
It's not all self-serving. I genuinely want to see them continue to win. I know merch sales matter. I will support them throughout, and I think there's a big chance that we never book them again. But I would like to think that, we will work with them in some shape or form. I won't go deeper than that, but I mean, I would hope that there will be more Vanity Project stuff to come as their career sort of unfolds from us.
100%. Hundos. I keep saying hundos. I'm missing the opportunity to say hundos. Yeah. So I'm not going to lie. There is a possibility you see them at the Marked Out Collectibles table at Big Event. I am crossing my fingers. If anyone has a contact at NXT, that they want to, or WWE that they want to help smooth this out, let them honor the booking. I mean, they did accept the booking. That would be awesome. But I mean, and I know what this world is like, and I also know the game. There's more to the game now. I get it. And I'm hoping that we can continue to figure out ways to work with these guys in some fashion or another in the future. I hope, but if we never do again, this was to me a privilege for this to be kind of a part of this.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever top this. I really don't, and what I mean by top this is I don't mean that we'll never work with someone that signs to NXT again. I venture to say there's several we already have worked with to a lesser capacity, more of a private capacity, that will hit NXT in the next year. And, but I mean, we didn't know them like we know these guys. We spent hours. We've driven up the highway with Jackson when he was dying and half, almost like
sick as a dog, snotting all over my car.
Yeah. Like, it's different. I'm not going to say that, like, I don't think they're inviting us to their housewarming invitation must have gotten lost in the mail because we didn't receive one for the Orlando bachelor pad. But yeah, we know them well. We want them to succeed, and like their sky limit, like where their limit is, all the way up there in the stratosphere. We will never find a prospect that will have a higher ceiling than them. I aspire to find one that comes close. But I mean, I think these guys are, just given the region that they were in, that they were accessible, and their talent and their potential. I mean, I don't think we're topping this again.
I mean, think about how lucky we were that Gilbert booked Jackson on that show. And what's funny was we were Jackson's first autograph signing. And if you recall, he was very squirrely about signing. He was very squirrely about getting paid initially. It was kind of like he was a little bit nervous. Actually, to be fair, we were Brad's first autograph signing too. I don't know about Ricky, because that first one I didn't do with Ricky, only you did.
I think we were. I'm just going to assume, just based on the fact that there's nothing else on the market at all anywhere from him besides what we have. So I think we were first on all of them, honestly. And yeah, it's like, that first day we had to which is fine. We also pay them before anyway.
When you're doing a private with a talent, part of the politics of it is you have to make them warm up to you, so they will actually answer your texts in the future. Some of these talents, I mean, they want you to go through a middleman, or they only want you to because they only want, to communicate with people they trust. So there is a little bit of a game to get them to warm up to you, so they understand exactly what you're doing. So there's a little bit of banter, or there's some humor, and we can tell this now. How many people have reached out to you? No one reaches out to me, thankfully, but how many people have reached out to you and said, "Yo, can you talk to Jackson for me, or can you talk to Swipe Right for me? They don't answer my texts, or they don't answer my DMs. How do you get them to come out for you?" Right?
Yeah.
How many? There were several times where that happened.
Yeah. And
we laugh about it.
Yeah. Needless to say, we're not helping. Needless to say, I mean, it's not that. I feel like I'm starting to break out to that song that like Carlton used to dance to, but it's not that unusual. Eric Sims was, who else brought out Iron Sheik? Really, it was Eric Sims. That's what happened. And for Eric Sims, it's easier because he was already out, so you could drag him around until he died, which is what Eric Sims did. I don't mean that negatively. He made him a lot of money, and they made each other a lot of money, and that's the beautiful thing. But you form relationships in this business. And the same way we were the Jackson and Brad and Ricky guys is the way Sims was the Sheik guy. And Marty was the Heenan guy. And that's what it is. Talent gets comfortable. They trust you. And frankly, they don't want to sort of wade into the pool of Josh Baker morons and have to worry about if this person that can't compose a sentence clearly is going to honor the components of the deal and actually pay them, and not flake, and not try to steal their underwear from their bag and sell it on eBay and whatever else. Relationships matter.
What's funny? Remember for the longest time when you searched for Brad Baylor, when you searched for Jackson Drake on Google, your picture came up?
Yes.
That's changed now. I guess he got too big.
Wow. Google abandoned me.
Yeah, but it was actually pretty funny. That when you up until very recently, if you search Jackson Drake on Google, the picture that was used for him was your photo up with him from that first private, I think it was.
Yeah. So you know what I bet changed it? Probably this signing. All the news sites picking it up.
It realistically might have been. And so it's just, I mean, we do feel connected. Again, I make no bones about being responsible for anything. I'm responsible for nothing. We did keep those guys paid when I know the indies are rough, but other than that, just exposure and giving them opportunities to make connections with fans. I'm very happy. How on a lot of ways, this whole experience and experiment for us is validating, because some of the bookings we did were like, you're scraping and scratching to make profitability, to hit that line. And this was like, kind of a well that only continued to refill, that we were really continuing to, as they continued growing, and then we would do more, we would do another private, and then we would sell more, and then we would do the public, and we would sell more. And, I mean, how freaking amazing, and it sounds like dumb, but how amazing of an accomplishment did it feel to have an active WWE championship at our booth at WrestleCon and at big event? Like, that's insane,
I mean, I don't think it even is ridiculous. I mean, this business, that's what this is all about. And I think on a very big level, and I don't think I'm saying anything revolutionary, we're fans, marks, whatever you want to say, just like anyone else. Like, the idea, as I know for me as a kid, that you'd see like the Intercontinental title or whatever, and I'm not saying that the Evolve title is on that level, because it's not, but to see these belts and the esteem and like the reverence and like the awe you'd be in, at least me, maybe I was just weird, which I was in several ways, I'm sure, that I would place on these belts and the champions and the person with the belts, and to have a guy at our table, that there's pictures of him at our table with the belt and our logos back there. And it's wild. It really was wild. I don't know. I venture to say we'll never, I don't want to say never, but I wouldn't feel confident how many more active WWE championships that have TV time we will ever have at our booth, because that's not something that happens anymore. This is not the 90s when Terrence, it was a different game. When Terrence was booking these huge names, it was a different business with different rules, and it's not like that now. And I'm just honored that we were able to do that. I'm honored that we were able to bring the title, watch Jackson grow as a person that frankly never really wanted to interact with fans or have a gimmick table or anything, as he blossomed into someone that quite frankly is a natural at dealing with the public. And he fielded middle-aged men being perverted, as well as he fielded children being in awe of their, one of their favorite superstars. And he handled each situation just as well as the next. And that, again, we didn't teach him how to do that, but we sort of gave him a platform to grow. And I mean, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking to him like he's dead, but in fact, it's the opposite. He's alive. Like, he's moving into something fantastic, and it's like, it's hard. It's just hard to explain. Like, it's like kind of like when you see a band before they hit it big or something like that, and you have almost an affinity where you go, oh, I feel some, I don't even know what, ownership, which is ridiculous. You would, makes no sense, but like it's so freaking cool to see, to see these guys get their chance. And I really, really hope they're given the chance and to flourish. And I really, really hope that they make the most of the chances they're given,
I'm confident they'll make the most of the chances they're given, because that's what they've been doing all along. And I don't think they'll ever take their foot off the gas. And just full circle moment, when you just said about how you see a band and you feel like you're sort of invested and you're in from day one, and you feel some level of ownership over that band because you discovered them. I think to go full circle, I think that's as close as I can get to sort of quantifying sports fandom. The typical sports fan is not going to sort of say, oh, this team won the championship this year, I'm a fan. The idea is you start when this team is complete dog shit, and clearly you're not discovering them because there's a stadium filled with people for decades watching the same team. But you feel like you started on the bottom with them, and then when they finally hit, it feels so much sweeter because you were there the whole way. And it's not the same as this, and I get that. But that is probably as powerful as I can come to sort of expressing what sports fandom feels like, because it feels similar to this.
I still think most sports fans should probably be euthanized just for the benefit of society, but how
about Vanity Project fans? Should they live on?
You know what? Let's make sure the boys make some money. Get the boys paid, right? Uh, that's an inside joke. That was me being mean. To those who know. That's why I guess I am not nice, right? That is my. Who said that to me? Who came up to me at big event and said you really are mean? Who was that?
I imagine it's probably several people.
No, it was one person, but I was like really taken aback by that because I'm not actually mean. This is a fun act mean. I think it's funny. I grew up in the '90s. It's funny to act mean. I think it's funny. But anyway, maybe I don't know. Maybe I am. But anyway, I think we ought to punt on the list of the questions. Yeah. Oh, wait, we have to answer one because it's timely, and it wouldn't be timely if we didn't answer it.
No.
Right?
We'll do one question.
So the question is from the captain, Rob Riemenschneider himself. He asks, since my birthday is Saturday, how about your favorite captain story?
And we have a question in our archive for someone who's newer to the party, and this is one of those moments where they're like, who the hell's the captain? Well, it's Rob. Why is he the captain?
So one of the things you have to understand is this marked out community has kind of a rotating cast of characters. And there's a lot of people we've met over the years, some of whom are highly accomplished professionals, and some of whom are barely hanging on the bottom rung of society's ladder. And in their own way, they're all sort of beautiful human beings. They all contribute in a very funny way. And I can't say enough how thrilled I am to have met so many of these people and have gotten to know them. And so there are these characters, sometimes I'll mention like Big Blue or Indie Nut or Indie Fan or is it Indie Nut, right?
Yes, Indie Nut.
Indie Nut or Big Blue or Two Chicks or any of these people who they just make up the rotating cast of characters that we've come to know. And I don't know how to say. Once you're around long enough, you'll meet these people, many of them. I mean, look, we ran into Two Chicks this year, right?
Listen, I'm not sure if Two Chicks rotates or orbits, but go on.
That's vile. But we see these people sometimes. I haven't seen Big Blue in a long 10 years or more, right?
Listen, I think I looked him up recently. He's still alive, which is nice.
And so all these people and these phrases it's a real community. And as sick as it sounds, that these people matter to me anyway. And
I love
and I wouldn't trade. This is one of the things that really keeps me in the hobby is the bizarre communal aspect of it. And yes, I am mean about it, but I feel like the person I'm meanest to is myself. I make fun of myself more than anyone else. I feel free to make fun of anyone. And I kind of go through life that way, thinking if you can't make fun of yourself, if you can't poke fun at the world, look, we are all, and now I'm going to get really messed up. We are all destined to die alone, right? That is how the universe works. It is really one of the most cruel. Like if I was asked to think of the most cruel thing I can come up with, I couldn't even come up with that, and yet it's true. And so, like, if you can't find humor in what is bound to be your inevitable oblivion, then what else? Are you going to take everything seriously? So I do like to poke fun. I do make fun of things that I think are silly, and I have no problem saying it. I've lost my ability to care about people, getting mad about it or whatever. I don't get mad myself if I've taken people making fun of me. I make fun of myself. I don't care, whatever. So yes, I guess I could be mean, but anyway, back to the captain, because the captain is a character, man. He is a character. He was a character on the board. He's a very eccentric guy, and what makes him eccentric is he has a very particular expectations and demands in social and professional situations. Now, I can tell you from my perspective, when my professional and personal expectations are not met, I will typically either bitch about it or more likely than not just smile and pretend that nothing happened and not deal with it. Not the captain.
Not at all.
The captain is infamous. his catchphrase on the board was, I mean, what is his catchphrase?
That he was going to write a strongly worded letter.
Strongly worded letter. That is his catchphrase. So whenever he got pissed off about something, he was going to write a strongly worded letter. That to me is hilarious.
He's the original Karen.
Yeah. But there's just things, and he's a sincere person. He's a nice guy, but there are certain things that just make him angry, and he goes off, and that's funny, and that's what we remember him for. So, what's your favorite captain story? Because I absolutely have one, and it's probably different from yours.
I'm gonna touch quickly on a couple of things, which is kind of a cop-out, but I will pick my favorite captain story. I mean, you have the stories of him, like the Facebook posts of his work encounters are hilarious. I'm just picturing one day I'm gonna go to Captain's job and I'm gonna take a selfie with him in his Walmart suit, which sounds deranged, but it's gonna happen before he retires. I need kangaroo, Walmart suit and kangaroo.
It's a part of marked out lore.
Yes, and when he retires, if they allow him to keep any like a collection of his uniforms, if he has an extra Walmart vest, I will take it if he would be willing to part with it to put it with the other artifact I have of another marked out legend, and maybe one day we can start a marked out Hall of Fame. But anyway, that's one. That's something that's awesome. The fact that he had that old Bessie, that old TV that he refused to ever upgrade. I think it suffered a stroke. It didn't die.
It was the wood frame TV, right?
Yeah, but I think he moved it to the basement now. I think he still has Bessie. I don't know if it works, but he has it. But now he finally has upgraded to a new TV. So that was always fun.
The end of an era.
Yeah, but I think my favorite story, and it's part him and it's part also Ken. But when he sent in that, whatever the hell it was a flag or something?
I don't know.
And somehow the flag went missing in the KNS auditorium. And Kangaroo, I mean, I kept telling him, I'm like, Ken will find it, and if he somehow doesn't find it, he will make right, because he's top notch, and he's gonna reimburse you or whatever. And he went nuts and started causing a ruckus. And Ken got mad. Ken told him that he was gonna pay. He paid him for the item. He paid him handsomely. It was more than it was worth. And it wasn't good enough for the captain. And then Ken, I remember, I think he made a post that if he ever found the item, he was gonna sell it and make Kangaroo watch it be sold. And and Kangaroo was going nuts. It was hilarious. And then, of course, because Ken is top notch, Ken found the item. I think Kangaroo kept the money and he received the item as well. So it was actually a win. I mean, I don't think he made, or did he make Kangaroo reimburse him? He may have. I'm not sure. I would say Kangaroo respond to the show notes, but I don't want to make it let's not bring up old, let the sleeping dogs in the pet shop lie. And let's not bring it up. But yeah, and of course, obviously, the Gorgeous George story, in case you don't go there. That's classic as well.
That's not what I was going to do.
Okay, well, the Gorgeous George joined Marked Out, I think, at one point, to curse him out and it was a hell of a feud. It was actually Gorgeous George's crowning moment in the wrestling business.
In case you don't know, there was this woman, Stephanie Bellers, who was dating the Macho Man Randy Savage, and for reasons that no one seems to understand, he paid the dead wrestler Gorgeous George's family for the rights to call her Gorgeous George.
How'd you know her name offhand? Did you look this up? You had this in
No. Interestingly enough, I was browsing Reddit yesterday, and her real name popped up, and so it just stuck in my head from yesterday. I should have just lied and say I remembered it, because that would be a better story.
Her real name popped up quicker than she did for a photo op.
Oh, yeah. So my two favorite captain stories, one of which is very old, and one of which is much more recent. So the captain had built up quite a reputation on the board for his antics, but we had not yet met him in real life, because he's from oh god, kind of
Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, a little bit more rural area of Pennsylvania, a little bit further away. He didn't make all the cons, at least back then. Now he's everywhere, but back then he didn't make all the cons, and so we hadn't seen him yet. And I remember we were at a show. I want to say it was Legends of the Ring, and we were excited because Captain had claimed he was going to be appearing at the show. So we were all like trying to scout. Do you remember this? We were all trying to scout like the show and the parking lot to see where the Captain was. And then as we were leaving the show for the day, we finished. We were leaving the show. Do you remember that? As we were leaving the show, I see someone like angrily walking through the parking lot holding a pair of roller skates. And so infamously, he said that he was going to bring a pair. It might have been Sinomania. I don't remember. But he was going to bring a pair of roller skates to get signed by Cherry, who was like a manager for some tag team or something.
Domino.
So, and and then we were like, "Is that the Captain? Is that the Captain?" And then you were like, "There are the roller skates." So, so that's how we identified the Captain. We never actually walked up to him and introduced ourselves. We actually simply identified him from afar. But it was just one of those moments where we're like, now we put a name to a face, and so that is a funny moment for me. And another funny moment was more recently when we were at a big event. And it was when we had Lucha House Party, and he comes over and he wants a combo with Lucha House Party, and then he goes, "Oh, I didn't budget for this. I'm short on cash. I'll get them another time." And I looked at him and I'm like, "I know you for 20 years. You can pay me anytime you want. What are you doing?" Like it's one of those weird things where like he genuinely didn't realize that of course we would let him do what he wanted to do and you could just pay whenever. Like it's not a big deal because we know him for so long. I know his real name. I'm friends with him on Facebook, all this stuff. And like it was just it just shows you kind of the weird nature sometimes of the interactions with people who like but you kind of know, but these people that are our community. The funny thing was it struck me as like, of course I would just let him pay. It never occurred to me not to do that, but he didn't even think to ask, and he wouldn't ask. And so, because he's a stand-up guy, so it just struck me as a funny moment because it just made me sort of reflect on the relationships that we make with people from the community.
Yeah, it really, as weird as it is to really like say and quantify, but we've known these people for 20 years and we know so much about them from this hobby. But then sometimes when you not so much anymore now, you've seen them so many times, but it's like you see them in person at the end of the day, you're still kind of strangers, but like you know them for 20 years and know everything about them at the same time. It's like this weird, like, I don't even know how to really explain it. If you've lived it and you've experienced it, you know what I mean. And I mean, I imagine if it was someone he knew in another context for 20 years, he'd probably be like, "Hey, can you spot me? Just let this slide and I'll pay you in 12 hours." And it would be no problem. But like he didn't, because he's a stand-up guy, like you said, he didn't feel like, "Oh, I'm going to ask that." Even though you've known us for this long, you absolutely can when we know how you are. But yeah, it's the beautiful thing of this hobby. And honestly, when the message board started dying out, the kangaroo wasn't really on there as much anymore. Because, I mean, a lot of people weren't. It started, like, phasing out, obviously. And now at the Facebook group, he's made a resurgence. And we have a window into Captain Kangaroo again, which is awesome.
We got to find Indie Nut and bring him to the Facebook group.
I got to develop the nerve to reach out to Big Blue and get him on. But
get Big Blue on, get Indie Nut, because Big Blue honestly was a lot. He generated a lot of messes to clean up. He was a very spirited gentleman,
Emphasis
and
on spirit.
And at the cons too, he was just a trip. He'd come over, "Hey, what's up?" He's all. I remember though, didn't he? He got Jeff Hardy to do a hype video for markedout.com.
He did, and I think he was drunk. Jeff was drunk.
It was like a fascinating video.
It was a perfect video. It really was
perfect. Big Blue, just because he's just a character who loved the board. Dana, I love the board. He has such a funny affect to him, and he got Jeff. I somehow got Jeff Hardy back when Jeff Hardy was a pretty, this was 2009, probably 2010 in that ballpark, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when we used to walk around to the cons and ask the wrestlers if they wanted to do a promo video of a marked out?
Yeah.
So we got who do we got? I got Johnny Fairplay, the guy from Survivor.
We got
Brutus Beefcake. Right?
Yeah, we got like Shelly Martinez. I think who else? Lena Yada was like some Asian woman in WWE for like a month or two. I don't know.
I don't remember even, but yeah, good times. But anyway, those are our favorite captain story, at least for me. Anyway, it's hard because like his general antics on the board, it was all funny. But it's the specific things in person that I really remember, and seeing him with the roller skates and having connected the name to the face. And he had no idea. He had no idea we were like staking out the parking lot looking for him. He had no idea. How would he know? And he probably doesn't even know to this day. And here it is. We were looking for you the whole
now
show.
He knows. There we go.
Yeah. So that's my favorite kangaroo story. So let's punt these other questions for the day. We're well over the time allotted here. I didn't predict we were going to be this long, but there were a couple of rants on the show.
Couple. But yeah, just
went long.
Happy birthday, kangaroo. Enjoy your day.
So what's coming up for us? So I still have not decided whether to go to San Francisco.
Flight's going up, pal.
I know. Part of it is I have a couple of doctor's appointments that are going to dictate kind of what the next few weeks are going to look like in the next couple of days, and so I don't want to make any decisions until nothing serious, bad, but
it sounds kind of ominous.
No, but no, it's not anything like that. But just there are a couple things that I might have to take care of in a certain window, and that might be that window. So I don't want to make it. I don't want to buy stuff and then try and unwind it. So I'm going to wait until.
I was going to say, do I have to reach out to Kangaroo as to be the new co-host?
Anyway, just to be safe as far as not wanting to unwind the travel. So San Francisco is a maybe still. Monster Mania, you're in so deep, it's crazy. I mean,
that new 10-year-old has really sealed it.
Yeah, seals the deal. So I might be in from. I'll probably end up just taking the ride because why not? We're in out in the day. I can find something to do.
There'll be something you need by then.
I'm gonna be honest. Steel City, I'm closer now than I've ever been to saying yes. Right.
I mean, I'd be willing to say yes now. I think
it's Dhillon. These are all the names for Steel City. It's so funny because we're nowhere near. Steel City has 40 guests, some crazy number. They've announced like 6, and it's or 8. It's great. So I would say Steel City is probably a yes. And of course, big event. Look, I hope beyond hope that we are able to have the Vanity Project at a new and improved price point. At big events. Yeah, of course. I'm really hoping that that's the case. We're really relying on just WWE allowing them to honor their previous commitments. I am not confident that they will, but I'm hopeful that they will, and there is precedent for having done so. So I don't think anyone needs to poo-poo our chances just yet. We'll wait until we hear, and we do. Honestly, we have time. I feel comfortable. Maybe I'm crazy. I feel comfortable stalling any announcements until the middle of February. About a month from now, before we even really need to get serious, because the con is not even to the middle of March. So really even on the end part of March. The con's the 21st. So the end of March. We can even really almost to the end of February. So I mean, obviously, when we know, we'll let you know.
And I think if we don't have them, I think we won't have likely anybody. I don't think we're gonna just, we're not gonna fly Gangrel up from Florida here as a contingency plan.
Delta Plus,
the extra leg room.
Yeah. Again, yeah. If you were wondering, Gangrel, when you fly him around, he demands like the extra, not first class because that would just be ridiculous, but like the plus, so he has extra leg room. Well, that was one of the deciding factors in not booking him that time.
Yeah, You could always throw him on one of those gimmicked first class flights, like Olivia Hussey.
The kayfabe first class. Yeah, I mean, listen, the flights that she wanted were $10,000 a seat. First of all, who in God's name is paying $10,000 a seat from LA? That's ridiculous. That's
you flew her up on Carney Airlines.
So I paid $2,000 a seat. Okay, come on, 10,000. Get out of here. That's abuse. The airlines deserve to go out of business.
That was one of her last flights. She deserved to fly in style.
It may have been her last flight.
Yeah.
She talked about how much she hated flying.
Yeah, it probably was her last flight. There you go.
Think about that. And think about how I was thinking about holding up her ticket.
Thank God she did those inscriptions.
I swear to God, I wish we had meta glasses back then to record all this insanity.
It would have been amazing.
Those car rides. So you can be. Let's screw it. I'm not. I think it's safe to say that car ride home that Thursday. Have you ever seen me angrier than that?
No, not even with the horses.
No, I genuinely. I have to say I don't really get angry at anything. I can pretend being angry. I can play act. I can theatrically display anger. I really don't feel anger. It's very, very rare. I saw red that day. I was so mad. Yeah. So that it's funny. I wish there was some documentation of all this. Because I was so mad. I blocked some of it out. So I don't really remember. Like, I remember how I felt, but I don't remember like the sights and the sounds and the exact lines of dialogue between, when Tony put his wife on the phone. I was like, ah! Yeah, I was going nuts. I wish, there was a way to recall that, because I would laugh so hard at all that, how crazy that was. But that's how it is, man. And I wonder if we'll ever have anything crazy like that again.
Let's hope.
I mean, to be fair, there was like $25,000 on the line with that. That was I can't imagine I get stupid enough in this business to do a $25,000 deal again. I really 26,000, whatever it was. I really don't think I'm gonna ever get to that place again. But yeah, that's it. I think. Jesus, we went along really long. One more commercial. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. And the only signing we're still promoting right now is the Rick Martel private signing. That we have, sales are up on the website. We're handling all Rick Martel items that day at the big event. So, if send them to us, because we're handling them anyway. If you need anything done, if you have your Hasbros should come through our hands. We'll take good care of them. And look, I really wish I could make that firm announcement that the Vanity Project is appearing for us at big event. I really do, but I'm not able to make that announcement yet. And I really hope that we get some clarity soon, on whether they'll be allowed to make their bookings. So we will keep you posted when that information comes to us. Are we good?
Yeah, I just hope no one writes us a strongly worded letter for going so long this week.
I feel like, I don't know, it's weird. I feel good about this episode. It's funny because I was kind of dreading this recording because of the time of day, and I meant it's a little bit earlier than normal, and mentally I was not entirely prepared for it. This was my favorite episode in a while.
Yeah, I was dreading it too. I really was. But
I didn't even eat. I had a good time.
I'm still sitting in my work clothes.
I mean, so am I. But anyway, that's it for us. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, and Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And we'll see you next week, and you better watch NXT.